Good morning everyone. This is Kamikawa Kaelin. The delivery ceremony for about 1.05 million new coronavirus vaccines provided by the Japanese government to Thailand. It was the Prime Minister's Office of Bangkok, Thailand on July 12, 2021. According to the Embassy of Japan in Thailand, Kazuya Nishida, the Japanese ambassador to Thailand, said at the ceremony, communicating the message of Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, "I want to work hand in hand with Thailand and overcome difficulties together." Thai Prime Minister Prayut, who has been in contact with an infected person and is in quarantine, participated online and Japanese support improves access to vaccines for Thai residents. It will play an important role in Thailand's strong progress. Thailand is currently experiencing a third wave of coronavirus infection spread. Recently, there are about 9,000 newly infected people per day. The cumulative number of infected people in Thailand exceeded 340,000 on July 12, and the cumulative number of deaths was 2,791. From this day, July 12, the Thai government has been in the Bangkok metropolitan area and 4 southern prefectures. Curfew from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., etc. We have embarked on tightening regulations on the movement of people and economic activities. For the vaccination status in Thailand, since April, the Chinese Sinovac vaccine has been inoculated. However, Thai Health Minister Anutin said on June 12, about the person who first inoculated the new coronavirus vaccine made by China Sinovac, he announced plans to administer a second vaccine from AstraZeneca, England. This is despite being vaccinated with CoronaVac. This is because there are many cases of infection with the new corona infection in Thailand. According to the announcement on July 11 by the Thai Ministry of Public Health, from April to July 10, 618 of the 677,348 healthcare workers who received the Sinovac vaccine twice, he revealed that he was infected with corona and one of the nurses died. A government expert committee has announced that healthcare workers who have been vaccinated twice with Sinovac, he advised the government to recommend a third dose with a different vaccine. From June, vaccinations made by Astra in addition to those made by Sinovac will be carried out. In late July, a vaccine jointly developed by Pfizer and BioNTech of Germany from the United States, a total of 1.5 million times will be provided. Japan is also providing vaccines to the Philippines. 13 cold storage containers containing AstraZeneca vaccine in the UK, about 1 million times, on July 8 at 9 p.m. arriving at the Air Force Base in the capital Manila. President Duterte himself greeted him. President Duterte said, "Japan continues to be our strong partner." He thanked the Japanese government. Vaccination is not well advanced in the Philippines. According to health officials, only about 8.5% of the population has completed at least one vaccination. Given this situation, there is no doubt that there is a problem with Chinese vaccines. This new coronavirus vaccine developed by Sinovac Biotech in China. Indonesian President Joko Widodo will be televised worldwide on January 13, 2021. With this as a trigger, international expansion began. However, 4 clinical trials have shown significantly different efficacy for this vaccine. The opacity was swirling. Indonesia, which was the first to jump to the Sinovac vaccine, efficacy in trials conducted in the country was found to be 65%. However, the number of participants in this test is only 1620. Too little to collect significant data. Turkey. Last December, a study in the country announced that the Sinovac vaccine achieved 91.25% efficacy, although similarly, the number of participants was small, and it is hard to say that a sufficient conclusion was reached. In Brazil, which was the largest of the Sinovac trials and was attended by 13,000 people, the debate over effectiveness had become a tool of political dispute. The company's Brazilian clinical trial partner, Butantan Institute, the vaccine is 78% for mild symptoms. It was announced that it was effective in suppressing 100% of moderate to severe symptoms. But the real efficacy of the CoronaVac vaccine shown in the Brazilian trial was 50 to 60%, the country's news site, UOL, quoted an anonymous source. The Butantan Institute explained that this was a guess. From now on, it's close to 0%, not 50%. Xi Jinping Jintao has promised to share with the entire world the Chinese-made vaccine as public goods of the world, It is no exaggeration to say that it has become a shame in the world now. Nikolai Petrovsky, a professor of medicine and public health at Flinders University in Australia, in the corona vaccine clinical trial, from the aspect of money and prestige, there is tremendous pressure to announce the results with great exaggeration. What happened to the country that used the Chinese vaccine? WHO remains silent, even though WHO has an obligation to investigate and publish. In Chile, 90% of the vaccines inoculated are Chinese-made CoronaVac vaccines. The remaining 10% was a Pfizer vaccine from the United States. Researchers at the University of Chile have announced that the effectiveness of the Sinovac vaccine was 54%. In contrast, Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are more than 90% effective. He also reported that the AstraZeneca vaccine was about 80% effective. According to the statistics site, Our World in Data, despite the relatively high vaccination rate of over 20%, it is said that a considerable number of countries where the number of infected people does not decrease at all are using Chinese vaccines. The main inoculation of China-made Sinopharm vaccine is Bahrain. Inoculation rate is about 30%, Hungary, about 25%, Serbia, about 22%. This includes Uruguay, about 21%. The Chinese government announced in early June China has already provided 350 million doses of vaccine to the world, he said. China exports vaccines to more than 40 countries, focusing on the merit that it can be stored in a general refrigerator, also by the World Health Organization, WHO. Approved emergency use for Chinese vaccine. Bahrain has a very high rate of vaccination with China National Pharmaceutical Group in response to the rapid increase in infected people. A booster vaccination with a U.S. Pfizer vaccine was started for those who completed 2 doses of the vaccine. JP Morgan Asset Management on the 11th, in countries that use Western vaccines, 9 countries, including the US, UK, and France, after inoculating more than 40% of the population, the number of infected people has decreased significantly, whereas in countries, 9 countries, that use Chinese vaccines, Hungary is the only country where the number of infected people has decreased after vaccination. Especially in Bahrain, Maldives and Seychelles, the spread of infection is becoming more serious. The analysis result was announced. Oxford University also said, among the top 10 countries with the highest infection rates in the world, 9 countries except Paraguay have adopted Chinese vaccines. The survey results are summarized. The problem with Chinese vaccines goes beyond their ineffectiveness. There are also doubts about safety over the medium to long term. Of greatest concern is AID, antibody-dependent enhancement phenomenon. Antibodies produced by vaccination do not prevent the virus from entering cells. On the contrary, it is a phenomenon that promotes invasion into cells. A research team at Osaka University recently put it in the body of a person infected with the new coronavirus. Since we have found that an infection-enhancing antibody was produced, concerns about AID are growing. Even with vaccines such as those made by Pfizer, this risk is not zero. For inactivated vaccines, such as those made in China, when studying a vaccine for the SARS virus, which has similar genetic information to the new coronavirus, there is a history that AID occurred and its development was abandoned. Not only do Chinese vaccines not help prevent infections, it can be a dangerous alternative that increases the risk of AID. WHO is as soon as possible about the effectiveness of the vaccine. And shouldn't we disclose information about safety? Well, now you can see why Pfizer has reduced its vaccine supply to Japan. It may have been pulled from all over the world to reduce the supply to Japan. Japan, whose supply has been reduced, is the victim. I think this responsibility lies with the WHO, who approved this vaccine without any investigation. I think it is necessary to investigate why WHO approved such a vaccine. That's all.